Hi, this video is intended for the COM 110 students here at the University of Findlay. In this video, I will be talking about the 4 different types of informative speeches that could be found in our book, The Speaker's Primer, in Chapter 14. So, there are 4 different types of informative speeches. You have speeches about objects, speeches about processes, speeches about events, and speeches about concepts. So the first type of speech is speeches about objects, and these are the most common types of speeches. They could be about tangible items, so example, sports equipment, memento, souvenir, building, even a country. They can also refer to people, which these people can be either living or deceased. They could be fictional or factual. And the examples your book gives you are Harriet Tubman, who is a prominent figure in history, or Sheldon Cooper, who is a character on the Big Bang Theory TV show. They could also be about particular places. So for example, the Statue of Liberty in New York. So when giving the speech, you could talk about the characteristics of this landmark. You could talk about highlight must-see places, or you could highlight the must-see places of this place. You could talk about when this place is open, or you could talk about how to get there. And the other kind of speech about objects that you could give is that you might be tasked with explaining a larger space to an audience. So your book talks about, you could possibly explain the demographic characteristics. You could talk about economic prosperity, and you could talk about the geographical issues relevant to the market. So the second type of informative speech is speeches about processes. So these usually include things like recipes or installation directions. So these speeches are usually easier to give because you can construct and deliver them chronologically, but they do vary in complexity. So for example, if you were baking a cake or changing a tire, each step depends on the completion of the preceding step in order to be completed. But sometimes these kinds of speeches can be complex. So think about a doctor explaining treatment plans to a cancer patient. And in business, you could think about marketing plans. These are also complex. The third type of informative speech are speeches about events. And these types of speeches can unfold in a variety of ways, but they focus on something that has happened, is currently happening, or might happen in the future. So these types of speeches might take the shape of chronologically or topically. So for example, if you were in history class, you might have listened to a speech about the World War II Battle of the Pearl Harbor. This type of speech is usually given in chronological order because it makes the most sense. But some other speeches that might be about events might not take might not take the chronological order. They'll probably take the topically type of organizational pattern. So for example, if you're hosting a conference, you might need to address all the staff and explain to them what's going to happen simultaneously in different locations. Another example your book gives is a wedding planner. So this person might not give this type of speech in chronological order, but they'll talk about what's happening in different parts throughout the wedding. So this type of speech is given topically. And the last type of informative speech is speeches about concepts. So these are the most abstract of all the 4 different types. They're about ideas, not concrete constructs. So take something abstract and you want to ground it in reality, and you can do this through the use of real-life examples, illustrations, or vivid depictions. So there's many examples that your book gives on ideas or speeches about concepts. Examples are religion, economics, politics, relationships, any theory or idea that is not tangible. And then your book also does say that you could give one speech about one thing or one topic in the different types of ways. So for example, if you're talking about Buddha, you could talk about him as a person, so then that's a speech about an object. You could talk about Buddhist beliefs, and then this becomes an idea or a speech about concepts. You could talk about an event that happened in his life, so then this would be a speech about events. Or you could talk about how to become a Buddhist, so then this becomes a speech about processes. So after you choose which type of informative speech you're going to give, then you can organize the body in a way that's going to make the most sense for your audience. So to review, I talked about the 4 different types of speeches the 4 different types of informative speeches. Those are speeches about objects, events, processes, and concepts. Thank you.